Today I've been checking out Stalker 2, which is somehow not in early access. It's currently $49.99, but if you have Game Pass, it's included in there. Stalker 2 is set in the Chornobyl Exclusion Zone, which is full of dangerous enemies, deadly anomalies, powerful artifacts, and bugs as you craft your own story in the follow-up to the excellent Stalker games of old. So how does this one stack up? Well, let's find out. First up, as always, is gameplay. It's a first-person shooter, and I guess kind of story and approach and interaction-wise, it's kind of like Fallout 3, minus the RPG elements, but with the look and feel of, say, Tarkov in its weapons, style, and sheer atmosphere of the world. There is a story here, but I'm not going to spoil anything. But I would say the side quests were normally a bit more fun than the actual story itself. But basically, you're the new kid on the block, and off you go into the zone, meeting a whole host of characters, completing missions, side quests, finding stashes and artifacts. The world is a super dangerous place with bandits, other stalkers, dangerous creatures, and the anomalies. There are a few different types of anomalies, some like whirlwinds that will trap you and tear you apart. There's acid puddles, fire pits, electricity ball things that move around, and more. Usually when you find one, you'll die to it, then go, right, I won't do that again. It does bring back the old bolt system, so you like throw a bolt at the anomaly, and it will maybe disable it for a few seconds or help you find a safe path through, and that is always really fun to use. Some areas with anomalies will contain an artifact. Artifacts are invaluable. They will grant you certain buffs, or you can sell them for large amounts of money, so picking them up is highly encouraged. What I did like about the story is that consequences are actual consequential. Handing in a quest or killing a person can really dictate the rest of your game. Unlike a lot of games now that really don't matter, I really sat there and thought about decisions I was making. The map and area design is also pretty good. It really feels like a world that would have been lived in. Places are generally pretty interesting to explore, and you'll be like, ooh, what's over here? And you'll go for a bit of a wander, and I really like that about this game. So I would say in keeping the core of what made Stalker great, it's still got it. Once you add in the amazing atmosphere, tense build-up, scarcity of ammo, and you can still feel that core game is still there. And when the game has been a proper Stalker game, it holds up really well and is a joy to play. If you like the previous Stalkers, I think you will like this game, but if you didn't, I'm not sure this will convert you. Moving on to the meh kind of issues, which I didn't really know if these were good or bad. I think the whole game has been dumbed down a little bit. The gunplay feels a bit more generic arcade FPS. The onboarding too teaches you some things, but not other things. However, I will say, unlike the previous Stalker games, I didn't need to read a wiki to find out how to play, and that's kind of why it's a meh thing. There are also way too many health packs and food about. You just never run out. Ammo, on the other hand, though, can be pretty difficult to come by. And again, you could argue, is this good or bad? I'm putting the voice acting and scripted events in here. This game does take you out the action sometimes and runs a scripted cutscenes with no interaction. And I just don't think they flow very well with what Stalker is. It felt just a bit too much Call of Duty or Far Cry in parts when it does this. Voice acting is also pretty bad. I don't know if it's partly AI generated, but it just doesn't fit into the world, I didn't think. However, the reason it's in this sort of meh category is because it's propped up by some great storytelling and interesting characters you'll meet along the way. Now, moving on to some of the things I didn't like. I think this game is made for console gamers. Key rebinding is an issue. There are some hard-coded, so say you're like left-handed, you can have an issue. One prime example is you can only use W to go up a ladder no matter what, even if it's rebound. So even if you're using like T to move forward, you still have to press W, and that's a bit of a problem for some people. There's also a weapon wheel and constant on-screen prompts for some reason. It's very much like it was designed for a console first, and then they worked out how the PC could work. Respawning enemies is the biggest sin this game has. It brings you out the immersion so much. Like, you can clear a camp of enemies, loot it, walk a few feet out the area, and enemies immediately respawn back and shoot at you. Or if it's animals, they'll come and attack you. And sometimes they'll even just vanish. You'll just turn back around, and they're gone. Also, they can also see through walls, and in the dark, they will hone in on you like magic. It makes stealth almost impossible. It's super broken. Also, things that have gone: faction relations, which is a massive shame. Randomly generated jobs from other stalkers, gone. Radio chatter, gone. These were all great features that really immersed you in the world, and they've all gone. Equipment wears out incredibly easy and is super expensive to repair, especially in the early game. The whole durability system needs work. Guns need to be way cheaper to repair, as you just throw them away because you can't really afford to keep repairing it, so you never kind of love or attach or upgrade a weapon because it's just not worth it. And none of this touches on all the bugs. I mean, I will say I didn't have a single crash, just a lot of NPC issues phasing through floors, levitating. The combat AI, as I said, is rubbish. Mutants spinning around in circles, loot under the floor. There's so many bugs, but I'm hoping they'll patch them out. And also, when we're talking about bugs, you gotta talk about the fact it's not very well optimized. It runs at a pretty low FPS. You'll usually get about 30 to 40 even on the decent PC, especially when the storms and stuff are going on. But on my 3080, I would say it ran alright. There seems to be something wrong with Unreal 5 at the moment. It relies on AI upscaling and stuff to actually improve frame rate, which is not how it should be working. Graphics wise, obviously it's a massive step up from the previous games. The storms and particle effects look great. Assets, very well done. Enemies look great and fit into the world. I had no issues apart from the frame rates with the graphics. Sound-wise, outside of the voice acting, it's all pretty good. The ambient noise, honestly, it'll make you jump sometimes. It just keeps you on edge at all times. So in conclusion, I think this boils down to a few things. If you're a lover of Stalker, then probably get it now. It still maintains that grit, the atmosphere. The atmosphere is honestly, on the whole, amazing. But you will have to overlook some things in certain aspects, like the respawning enemies, bad AI, bad voice acting, unable to change certain keybinds, poor performance. And these things just kind of annoyed me a little bit. If you don't like the previous Stalkers, maybe with the new onboarding and the more casual approach in parts, you may like it. But maybe wait for some patches to improve on some of these aspects. For me, I will keep playing it. But I think there's a few issues that keep this from being an amazing game. It could have been so good. And I just hope they listen to feedback and sort these issues out. And you know what? It's just a bit of a shame. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got to say on this one. Catch us all later. Goodbye.